This woman was blind, but one night, she witnessed a murder. She ran to the balcony and found that the dead body turned out to be her neighbor. How on earth did she see it? Everything happened a few days ago. Sophia was a blind pianist. Because of her visual impairment, whether at work or in daily life, she was often harassed by others. However, she had gotten used to it. Her only friend was the neighbor who lived upstairs. They talked to each other about everything. Recently, Veronique seemed to hide some secrets. There were new wounds on her face every day. That day, Sophia played the piano at home. She overheard upstairs, Veronique and a man were arguing. The next day, she stepped on a silk scarf on her way home. She picked it up and smelled it. It was Veronique's. She took the elevator upstairs and happened to meet Veronique, who hurriedly got inside. Outside, a man tried to catch the elevator. Sophia told Veronique that she found her scarf, but Veronique came up and said, "Please take good care of it for me." Sophia didn't know that it was her last conversation with Veronique. When she came home, she heard the quarrel between Veronique and the man upstairs. She followed their footsteps, walking from the living room to the dining table, but as the quarrel escalated, Veronique's footsteps were getting faster and faster. She seemed to jump off the balcony. Sophia hurried to the window only to hear the screams of passers-by. Soon, the police came to Sophia for investigation. Facing the officer's question, Sophia became particularly indifferent. "Do you know the woman who fell?" "No." Facing the tragic death of her best friend, Sophia denied it. She said she was listening to a song, so she had no idea what happened. The police investigation failed. The officer had to leave his phone number. Why did Sophia lie to the police? Because all this was her revenge plan. When Sophia was young, her home was raided by a gang. Her mother hid her siblings in the closet. The blind Sophia and her sister trembled. Unfortunately, they were still found by the gang leader. He fired at the wardrobe. Sophia was the only survivor in her family. She was blind from then on, planning on revenge. After years of investigation, she learned the identity of the gang leader. Veronique was the daughter of the gang leader. Sophia went downstairs to her house, pretending to befriend her. Getting along with each other for a few years, she finally got a chance to get in touch with the gang leader. That day, Veronique asked Sophia to put on a match at her father's party. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for revenge. Sophia's adoptive father also prepared poison for her. Everything was ready, but that day, Veronique died strangely. The killer was in Sophia's home right now. The blind woman came home. She didn't know there was a killer at home. The killer raised a gun at her head. Sophia took off her shoes calmly, then groped the wall and went to the bathroom. The killer followed her quietly. She just turned on the tap, then she heard a strange noise outside. She pressed her ear against the door. Outside the door, the killer pointed the gun straight at her level. Sophia realized something was wrong. She forced the door open. As Veronique's invitation, she came to her father's party to perform. The gang leader gave a hypocritical speech. The death of a woman, to be exact, the death of his daughter didn't make him sad at all. Sophia felt more and more disgusted, so she vented her emotions on the piano. She had excellent piano skills, so she soon attracted the gang leader's attention. The gang leader called Sophia to the office. Then his secretary came in and called the gang leader away. While he left, Sophia thought here came the chance of revenge. She pretended to put the glass on the table to confirm the position of the gang leader's cup. She carefully took the poison out of her pocket. Accidentally, the poison fell. She bent over and picked it up, but she couldn't reach the poison. She groped it with her feet. Finally, she got it. She was just about to bend down. The gang leader came back. She quickly raised her hand, pretending to hold the glass. Meanwhile, the gang leader sat next to her. The poison was under her foot. She was too frightened to move. At this time, the gang leader dismissed her. She had a plan in mind. She smashed the bottle of poison hard, then pretended to slip her glass, making the glass shatter to pieces. Years of revenge, that was it. On the way home, Sophia was also bullied by a group of gangsters. A man appeared to get her out of the trouble. If you think this was a hero saving beauty, you are wrong. This man was the killer who sneaked into Sophia's house that night. They had dinner in the restaurant, but the man kept asking her about Veronique. It made Sophia feel something was off. Back home, Sophia was playing the piano. Suddenly, she remembered what Veronique said in the elevator, "Please take good care of the scarf for me." Sophia hurriedly closed the door and took out the disc in her coat. So this USB flash drive was what Veronique gave her indiscreet. She didn't know what was the secret in this USB flash drive. She also didn't know that she was in danger. On her way home, a van took her away by force. Some strong men tied her to the trunk. "Where is it?" Seeing her keep silent, one of the men cracked her finger. Sophia suddenly fainted. Just then, the van was caught in an accident. The killer opened the door. He threw a man out of the trunk. After the fight, Sophia was left with the killer. The killer sent Sophia home and told her the truth. This USB was with the gang leader for years. There were his dirty secrets in it. His daughter took it to report on her father. So many people wanted this USB flash drive. Some people wanted to use it as a backup plan. Some people wanted to take this opportunity to bring down the position of the gang leader, including the gang leader's secretary. The secretary asked her brother to go to Veronique's house to get the USB flash drive. However, he didn't expect that Veronique accidentally slipped and fell down the balcony. The killer suspected the USB flash drive was in Sophia's hand. But Sophia was blind. He tried not to be rude. He just wanted her to hand it in obediently. Sophia agreed, but she also offered an exchange. She wanted the killer's sister to arrange a meeting between her and the gang leader. The killer didn't break his promise. Sophia met the gang leader, but would her revenge plan succeed this time? The gang leader took Sophia to the car. He talked to her about his life. While talking, Sophia felt something was wrong. How could the gang leader know her details? So she took out a knife, putting it around the gang leader's neck. The gang leader was not afraid at all. He spoke coldly of the original picture of the extermination. Turned out, when he was still in the gang, he met Sophia's blind mother by chance. Sophia's mother was pregnant and gave birth to 2 daughters. He was afraid that his secret would cause trouble, so he burned down the pictures of them. He knew one of the girls survived. He kept an eye on her, knowing that one day, the prey would come to the door by itself. Then he could kill her easily. He didn't need to do anything. Sophia found the way to her grave on her own. After hearing him out, Sophia immediately panicked. The enemy always knew her plan step by step. The gang leader took advantage to take Sophia's knife. He was going to kill her. At the critical moment, Sophia burst out the intention of the secretary, saying she had been plotting to bring him down to distract the gang leader. Sure enough, Sophia succeeded. She took the opportunity to slip out of the car, temporarily escaping from the clutches of the gang leader. Sophia's residence was soon discovered by the gang leader. He came on his own to her house to kill her. How could Sophia, who had no strength to bind a chicken, defeat him? Just when Sophia was about to be strangled to death, the killer saved Sophia again. The killer was also seriously injured. Sophia saw the blood on his chest. She quickly took a cloth to help him stop the bleeding. Wait, how did Sophia see it? The killer just remembered every time he met Sophia, Sophia's eyes changed slightly. She pretended to be blind. Why did she do that? Because she knew that the gang leader would let his guard down with a blind girl, so it was easier to get close to him. Now her revenge plan had succeeded. Years of hard work had not been in vain. Now she had achieved her wish. That's all for today. I'm Harry. I'll see you next time.